What's up, Mortgage Coach community? We are here for a Tuesday interview with Dan Keller, someone that I always feel is bringing some of the best ideas, the best advice, the best scripts, regardless of market circumstances. And let's face it, guys, this is a historical market. Without question, the third most difficult cycle I've been through. The toughest, without question, was 2008. But 1999 was really tough for me personally in the mortgage industry. And I've been doing this for 36 years. And these are historic times, but there's still a lot of opportunity in this marketplace. And one of the biggest opportunities in the marketplace is gaining market share with realtors. It is difficult, possibly more difficult for realtors than it is for mortgage professionals. So they have tons of problems. Affordability is a crisis in America. It was a crisis before rates went above 7%, but now that rates are over 7% and they've more than doubled in the past 6 months, bigger problem, bigger challenge, so bigger opportunity. Dan Keller, welcome to the Mortgage Coach community, brother.
Hey, I'm pumped to be here. We're going to talk about something that is relevant to every single person, whether you are an originator, a realtor, or a sales manager right now in October of 2022. It's going to be a good one today.
So Dan, what are interest rates officially at from a straight perspective? Yeah, again, you're in the Pacific Northwest. What are rates today?
Yeah, we're north of 7. So we busted through. I kind of hesitated, maxing out as much as I can on points and pricing exceptions and lowering my comp and everything, heading up to 7. But it is what it is at this point. We're north of 7. So we're 7 1/8 right now. And, just, depending on obviously credit, that's not a quote, but we're north of 7 at this point. We're end of October, 2022.
So in both 2020 and 2021, what were your numbers those 2 years from a volume perspective?
Yeah, big time numbers. And I try not to talk about them because they were in the past, but perspective wise, north of 400 units, 200 million.
So a guy who knows how to close loans, who knows how to create consistent lead sources from realtors and partners, and he knows how to lead a team and do big volume. Dan, do you still think you're going to hit over 100 million this year, or how you feel like you're going to close out?
Pushing. Yep, we're pushing for that. I was just going to say the reality of this market, and I'm guilty, and I'm going to be super humble with everyone right now. I coasted through the first quarter. Thinking, this is going to turn, hey, yeah, we're going to be all right. And my biggest mistake in hindsight is I coasted in Q4 of last year, Q1 of this year, and I'm paying for it right now. I'm paying for it. I'm going to be half of what I did in 2020, 2021. We're going to celebrate when we hit 100 million this year. If we hit 100 million this year, we're going to be close. But definitely down from years in the past. We're comparing it back to 2018 type numbers.
Okay. So still making a living, not dying, not going out of business. So I told you I wanted to interview you today. I thought you'd be someone great to interview at this time in the market, but you picked the headline, you picked the topic, and the topic is how to get more meetings with realtors, how to bring more value to realtors, and some of the lessons you learned from making 100 calls to realtors. So why don't you frame why you picked that as the topic today, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I've been asked to be in the mortgage coach community so many times, is because I'm real. I'm not going to talk about something that worked for me 5 months ago or 5 years ago or something I did in the past. It's something that I'm doing right now. And I think that this is why this community is so valuable, Dave. It's a pain that I learned back in 2015 that if I wanted to be a great mortgage originator, I needed to have a sales process. And I'm not talking about, when you meet a client and they come in and how you take your pre-approval. Tim Brahim taught us that, the perfect loan process. We've all learned that back in 2011, 2012. I was talking about how to make an outbound sales call to realtors. And so how to deal with someone that might find me on the internet, for example, that doesn't know me from First Tech Credit Union, for example, or a big bank. And so I had to get good, or I had to learn, because I knew back in 2014, if I wanted to be a great mortgage professional, I had to learn sales. I worked on it. I went outside of this industry to learn it, connected with some of the greats in this industry that you've had on your calls multiple times that are great at calling realtors. But here's the thing. This is a different market. This is a completely different market. We don't have, what's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm actually pulling up my last perfect loan process with Tim Reed video, and it started playing. And guys, I am going to share that in chat right now. This one that I'm sharing you has been viewed like, I don't know, 5,000 times. And the one that I did 9 years ago has been viewed over 10,000 times. I want to make sure everyone doesn't assume that you know this stuff. Like, these are things that are from the past, but they're still is important. They're like the basics. Like, if you don't have a perfect loan process that is so good that it's a competitive advantage with realtors, then you don't have the basics. So I just put a link to that. If you haven't watched it, watch it. If you have watched it, re-watch it. While there are some different things, it's still the same. You know, I mean, it's still from a principle standpoint. And I'm actually getting interviewed on a podcast from Tim Brahim tomorrow. And within the next month or two, I will be interviewing Tim Brahim on what's happening today and what's going to happen in the future. So stay tuned for that stuff. But keep going, Dan.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure people didn't assume that.
Yeah. And this is, let's come back to that, because it is, you have to have a process when you're talking to realtors and when you're talking to borrowers. But that's not what my call is about today. What we will come back to the importance of this at the very end. The call today is, listen, we don't have 8 months, 9 months, 10 months to incubate a relationship with a realtor right now. You're going to go broke if you count on that. I need to start getting deals from real estate agents this month, today. So what I wanted to share with the group today is the traditional, I'm going to call a realtor and I'm going to add them to a list, and they're going to say no, and they're going to object to meeting with me, and we're going to add them to a list, and we're going to drip on them for 6 to 8 to 10 months. We'll see them out at a networking event, and they'll get to know us, and then we'll do coffee. We don't have time. We don't have time. It's the same thing with borrowers right now. It's the opposite with borrowers. We went from 14-day closes with no contingencies in place. So they were glued to you, man, back in 2021, 2021. Now they got 40 days, 45 days, all contingencies in place. Then they got AI hitting them with, in their inbox and on social media about rates. So the chances of you losing a loan today are greater than ever. So we need to get loans fast, and we need to get them now. And so one of the things, I'm going to share a couple of things with you guys today. And it's 2 things. I want you to write this down. Eliminate distractions, more calls. Eliminate distractions, more calls, because business is math. Life is math. Marriage is math. It's what you put into it. Something plus something equals something. It's the same thing in mortgages. So I called last Monday, my coach. I went and saw my coach.
Dan, I want to interrupt you real quick. So to the Mortgage Coach Innovation Team, what Dan just said was pure gold. We need loans now, and we need them fast. And it's just a math game. You know, prospecting is a math game, the effort you put into it. And when it comes to the presentation, it's a math thing. That's what Mortgage Coach does. So I just want to make sure my team creates some micro content around this, Dan. So keep going where you're going, but that was pure gold.
We got to cut down that incubation period. And so my coach gave me a homework assignment 2 weeks ago. He said, Dan, you're going to call, your numbers are down. So this is the first time in about 5 years that I've closed less than 10 loans a month. This was in September, the worst month in 5 years. It's closed 8 loans a month. And he goes, we got to do something about this. We got to do something about it right now. So he goes, what you're going to do on Monday, you're going to call 100 realtors. Now, I know you've got about 50 that know you. So that means you're going to have to find a list, make a list, get a list of 50 that don't know you or that you've not talked to. These could be listing agents from the past. These could be buyer's agents that you look up online. So my team and I ran a report. And Dave, this is stuff that I should have been doing 2 years ago. This is stuff that I've been coached on for 6 years. that we just didn't do. I took the pedal off the gas, my foot off the gas pedal in 2020, 2021, just like my coach was telling us not to, but we did. We got lazy and we're all guilty of it. And I'm sharing this so I can be humble with you all and let you know that I'm not here preaching something that I wish I did, but I'm doing now. I'm telling you that I screwed up. And because of that, I'm paying the price for it now, like a lot of people, but here's what I'm doing about it. Called 100 realtors last Monday. Out of the 100 realtors that I talked to, I had 47 talk tos. Okay, so I called 100, talked to 47. Okay, now the seeds that I planted with the voicemails, they were great voicemails. They were urgent voicemails. Hey, we need to connect. I've got something I really need to talk to you about. So in the meantime, I've connected with, I don't know the number, but I've connected with a handful or two of the people that I've left voicemails with.
Hey,
But
Dan, I want the full voicemail script. If you could just give that real quick.
Yep. Hey, this is Dan Keller over at New American Funding. Listen, I don't know if you know me. I know you. I've been following you, and I'm super embarrassed that I'm leaving this voicemail. I had you down to call 3 years ago, and I didn't. And I really screwed up because I've got something to show you that'll help you make more money this year, in the last few months of the year, and next year. I need 2 minutes of your time. Call me back. This is urgent. My number is.
If it wasn't a screw up, it's someone that you have kept in touch with, but you're just trying to get a friendly realtor on into a meeting. Could you edit that and do it again?
Yeah. So the people that I do know, we have some technology that we can pull up. I can pull up their stats. This is the other thing. And I know you've had a couple people on over the last few years and how they have meetings with realtors and the 4 questions, the 5 questions that they ask. I think some of these need to be updated because of the technology that we have. So I'm no longer going, hey, how many units did you do? What's your pain? What's this or that? I'm straight to the point. Listen, Sarah, I've done my research on you. I love your numbers. I love your reviews. It's incredible. So first off, how did you sell 47 homes last year? I want to know your secret sauce. Is there anything? Because I'm a business person. I perform at top 1% level in the mortgage industry. Can we talk about that? And they do. They talk about it. The next thing is, I asked this thing, what is something right now that gets you fired up when you think about it in your business that you just haven't deployed or carried it out, gone through with it yet? What's something that gets you really fired up or excited in your business that you haven't been able to deploy yet? So that's a better question, I think, for what's a pain in your business right now, or what's something that you're working on. So I asked those questions, and then from there, I see their numbers, and I see that you're listing heavy or you're buyer heavy. And then I asked them, the last thing that I asked them is I asked them what their post-closing client follow-up program is. And I don't say anything else. I let them tell me, and they fumble through it, Dave. 9 out of 10 fumble through it. Well, what do you mean? Well, what do you do after you close a transaction for someone? So we're going to come full circle on the process here in a minute, because if you as a lender have a process in place and you share that with the realtor that they don't have, there's the value. So my value proposition to these realtors is that I'm going to help you make more money, period. And so the reason why you and I had a talk the other day, and we were talking about this call today, and I wanted to make it about making sales calls. So let's go back to the very beginning, making sales calls. If you're going to make sales calls, and not if, when, you have to start making sales calls, period. If you don't, you're not going to survive. I'm just going to be honest with you. The phone's not ringing like it used to. You have to be able to make an outbound sales call. We are not mortgage loan originators. We are mortgage sales professionals. You have to learn how to sell. Okay. If you don't make outbound sales calls, you're a processor. Okay. And there's companies that'll probably hire you to process loans, but you're not going to have the ability to make the money that we make as mortgage sales professionals. So number one, if you're making a sales call, when you make a sales call, you'll be crystal clear on your value proposition. Crystal clear on your value proposition. Number two, you have to be crystal clear on the objections you're going to get. Number three, you have to have a process in place. Okay. We're going to talk about all 3 of those. But I can tell you, from making 100 outbound sales calls last Monday, I made 73 yesterday. So today's Tuesday. So yesterday I made 73. Okay. I'm going to finish up the rest, the 27 or 28 today. There aren't any new objections, you guys. There aren't any new objections. So if you want to learn objections, make 10 or 20 outbound sales calls. You'll learn them right away. If you want to get really good at them, listen to this call. I'm going to tell you what they are. I'm not interested. I already have a lender. Dan, I only do listings. I'm primarily listings. I don't really work with buyers. Okay, cool. Dan, I'm just not interested right now. Okay, so remember what Dave and I said earlier about we got to cut down that incubation period. I got to shrink this thing from 6 to 12 months down to 4 to 6 weeks. So I want to get to the objection as fast as I can. So when I'm cold calling a new realtor, a realtor that doesn't necessarily know me, I want to get to, first off, I want them to be receptive. I want to be receptive. So I'm not necessarily saying like what most loan officers will say. They'll say, hey, hey, Sarah, this is Dan Keller over at New American Funding. Hey, listen, do you have a minute? Or, hey, how are you doing today? They don't care. That you get around that because they know you're selling them something right away. What I say is, Sarah, I need 30 seconds of your time right now. And I promise you, it won't be a waste of your time. It's the first thing I'm saying. Hey, Sarah, this is Dan Keller over at New American Funding. I need 30 seconds of your time right now. And I promise you, it won't waste your time. Cool, Dan. Yeah. Hi, what's going on? What's up? And I get right into it. So I learned this from Renee Rodriguez. I learned this from communication classes. Humility is your best friend right now. Sarah, I'm super embarrassed to make this phone call. I'm not really great at making sales calls or cold calls. In fact, I really dislike cold calls. I really dislike getting called myself from someone I don't know. So please, this is not a cold call and it's not a sales call. But I'm embarrassed because I wanted to meet you 3 years ago and I didn't have the courage to call you 3 years ago. And in the meantime, I've seen what I've done in my business. I've seen how I've helped a lot of my realtors make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I calculated numbers the other day, and I've helped real estate agents make over $7 million in commissions over the last 3 years. And I want to meet you. So here's the thing. I want to hit pause on the script right now. The number one thing you want to take away, and I learned this from my coach, it's time to start monetizing our value. We have to start monetizing our value. If an insurance broker or a title rep called me and said, Dan, I've got your numbers right here. You closed 400 units last year. If I could help you close 30 more units this coming year, would you sit down and have coffee with me? In fact, Dan, I see your average commission is $4,000. So 30 times, if I can help you make an extra $125,000 this year, is it worth a $4 cup of coffee to you? I would say yes. So we've got to monetize our value. We've got to monetize our service. We've got to monetize what a transaction means to them. So we have those numbers. Sarah, I see your average commission is $30,000 a transaction. If I can help you close 3 more transactions in 2023, it's $90,000, just shy of 100. Would you be open to me popping by your office for 5 minutes and just introducing myself? That's what I'm saying to him. And I'm getting very little. Hey, the worst I got the other day is I'm going to be out of town next week. Call me next week. That was the toughest brush off that I got with that. Now, you've got to have a process in place.
Hey, Dan, before we go into the process, I want to break this down, guys. And this is so powerful because he's coming in with a big promise. I can help you make more money. He's showing them that he knows them. He's done his research. He knows their numbers. He's making a big promise. Every loan officer on this call, guys, just go back and add up all your purchase loans, how much real estate agents made in commissions, and have some specific numbers that are legit. Wally Ilderberry not only can talk about how much money he's helped realtors make in commissions, he's actually tracking the referrals that he's getting, because not only can he improve conversion, but because he's using Sales Boomerang and because he has a lot of great processes around how he treats the database, he can get more loans out of the Realtors database than the realtor can get themselves. And so, guys, it's conversion and it's database, and it's not going to change in 3 years. It's not going to change in 3 months. You need to help realtors improve conversion, and you need to help them get more ROI out of their database. And that promise is huge. So I want to push everybody in the mortgage coach community right now. pause this, calculate your numbers. And to Dan's point, you really need to lead with, value. I'm going to help you make more money, speak specifically to that, and then let's get into your process, Dan. And remember, this is a community. If you guys have questions for Dan, put those in chat right now live. I'll look at it in both Facebook and Zoom. And if you're watching this as a recording in our YouTube channel, put them down below. This is a super valuable, super important call. So get your questions and comments in.
Cool. Before I move on to the next thing, you guys write this down. Don't pitch on the phone. You're never going to make a sale to a realtor on the phone. And if you do, you just got lucky. You got lucky. Okay. The second you start pitching realtors on the phone is the second you're going to lose them. Okay. So it's got to be about, I add a little humility because no lenders are doing that. Okay. I add a little bit of humility and I monetize. Okay. And here's how you monetize it. Take your purchase transactions over the last year, multiply it by 6%, 3% commission on one side, 3% on the other. So there was 2 agents. Okay. And then if you said over 3 years, do the same thing for the next 2 years. That's the easiest way to monetize how much money you've helped realtors make. 2 million in commission, 6 million in commission, 10 million. It doesn't really matter. It's a big number and it gets their attention. Okay. Want to go back to the value proposition. Dave hit on it real quick. You're going to have a hard time making sales calls if you don't know your value. So my value proposition, and Dave knows this because I preach this. I do financial literacy classes on social media. I teach them to kids at high schools. I teach them to my employees. I teach them to loan officers, and I teach them to realtors and all my clients. I am a big advocate for financial literacy. At the end of the day, financial literacy is all about people's money. I care about other people's money. That's my value proposition. So when I talk to a realtor, my value proposition is all about their money. 3 things, and this is what I tell them. Number 1, I am an insurance policy against your commission. No other lender is going to make sure that you get paid and you get paid on time. Number 2, I'm going to get you paid. I'm going to, whatever it takes, I will drive 7 hours if I have to, the night before a closing to make sure you get paid. And number 3, I want to multiply your paycheck. I want to make sure that you get paid 2 to 3 more times as a result of our relationship. So when you sit down with a realtor and you say that, you're no longer talking about your rates, your fees, your program, your company. I'll pick up the phone 24/7. It's all about their money. And when you make your focus about their money, they're gonna have a hard time going, I like this other guy down the road because they've got this other type of program, or he buys me coffee once a month, or he does this or that. Okay. Make it all about their money. So that's my value proposition. It goes, and it's crystal clear in everything that I do with loan officers. I oversee about 62 loan officers in our region. All I care about is their money, helping them make more money, helping them budget, and helping them save and protect their money. Like Dave Savage, I'm here. I'm helping Dave Savage with Mortgage Coach, hopefully make more money, make more sales. Anything I can do to help Dave and Mortgage Coach with my testimony or how much his product has helped me and give back to them. So maybe it connects them with another lender or a big corporate account. My MO is to help other people make more money. So find your value proposition in your business and in life, and that will help you. Can be money. I'd encourage you. If it is, then got to go all in on it. But everyone's unique. Find your value proposition, learn the objections. Now, here's how to deal with objections.
Hey,
You
Dan,
make 100 calls, you're going to get really good at dealing with objections. Okay.
Hey, Dan, real quick, Dan, I just wanted to insert something right there. And I just put a link to the new training program that Dale Vermillion put out. It's his program. So I have no benefit, no financial interest in it. But he used the guy that Lending Tree goes to for training. He's trained over a million loan officers on conversion. And it's a skill-based training program. It's 3.5 hours. Sosi Avila just is going through it right now. He signed up and he's going through it. And the reason I interrupted Dan is because I asked Sosi the other day, what do you think so far? What's your biggest takeaway? And he goes, my biggest takeaway, and he made a slide around it, is that there's a lot of data and stats. And if you have 5 value props, like why an agent should work with you, it's better than 3, like a lot better than 3. So Dan, one, I'm going to be interviewing Sosi in the next couple of days on what he's learned from that training. But the way you just kind of like identified your value props, guys, it's pure gold. And if you do want to upgrade your sales skills, like this training that's 3.5 hours long, and I just put a link to it. It's all about sales skill training, because I think the industry is unfit from a sales perspective, and so check out the training. Sorry for the interruption, Dan. I just wanted to throw it out because you made me think about it.
No, so good.
By the way, Dan, I think you could get value from this training as well. So check it out.
I will, absolutely. I think going back to objections. And so you want to get good at dealing with objections. One, you got to understand what they're going to be. And number 2, you just got to get good at seeing them. And I'm going to make an analogy right now. Before I got in the mortgage industry, I was a college and semi-pro baseball coach. And I was specifically a hitting coach, hitting and strength and conditioning. And I worked with hitters. And we were really, really good. Every team I coached ended up leading the league in batting average, or we had some guys leave the team and go on to the pro ranks as incredible hitters. And one of the things that I taught with hitting is if you want to get good at hitting, you have to eliminate pitches. Okay. You can't go up there and guess. You have to eliminate pitches. So if you're going to eliminate the curveball, that means you're not swinging at a curveball. If you're going to eliminate the fastball, you're looking for a curveball. Okay. The second tier, the second part of that is you got to get good at hitting a curveball. You got to understand that the curveball moves down. You got to understand your swing might be a little bit different where you hit that ball, what part of your swing. The reason why I give you this example is I think it's so important in handling objections. So if you can eliminate objections by having a humble introduction, if you can lower the bar for objections by having a better intro, and then if you know what objections you're going to get, they're easier to handle. Dan, I already work with a realtor. I know you, or excuse me, Dan, I already work with a great lender. I have a great lender. I know you do. I've done my research on you. In fact, I have the information right in front of me, and I'm not surprised. And I'm not trying to take any business away from your relationship. But Sarah, if I could send you $95,000, $90,000 in additional commissions next year, is it worth a 5-minute call or a 5-minute conversation or coffee with me? Is your current lender helping support your business to the tune of referring you a minimum of 3 extra transactions a year? I've used that and it works. Okay. So we're monetizing, we're taking the objection. We know we're going to get it. I only work with listings. Cool. I see that you had 17 listings last year and 2 buyers. That's incredible. Why do you think I called you, Sarah? I don't know, Dan. So when you sell homes for people, do they buy homes? I'm curious. And when they do you care who they use as a mortgage professional because your name may still be attached? So I have conversations like that. So I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid because I have the data in front of me to have a conversation with. It's way better than going, of course you have a listing. All agents have good lenders. Of course you just do listings. Oh, I'm sorry for calling you. I shouldn't have called you. Okay. Which most lenders do because they're not prepared. So understanding your objections. And then lastly, having a process in place. So let's review all 3. Clear on your value proposition, understanding your objections, and then you got to have a process in place because all of you lenders right now listening to this are probably going, all right, Dan, how are you referring every realtor that you work with 3 extra deals? Cool. The reason why when we do sit down for that coffee or I go meet them for that coffee, I ask them, what is your post-closing client concierge program look like? Post-closing customer care program look like? Most of the time they're unclear. Most of the time it's not sophisticated. They can't even really describe it. It's not predictable and it's not a process. So then I talk to them. I say, I'm curious.
Yeah, and I want to insert something right there. And guys, I would throw on how much business did you get from your database last month? Like how many referrals or existing clients that you sold a house for did you do last month? How many have you done so far this year? So really get them to, because realtors don't know how many homes they're losing from their database. Loan officers don't know how many loans they're losing from their database. And it's a lot. It's a lot, even in this market. We know because we run a lost loan report in Sales Boomerang. That's part of our sales report is, oh, give us your database. We'll show you how many loans you lost this year. So make sure you're asking questions so that it gets them to say the problem out loud. What are your thoughts on that, Dan? Is that a decent ad?
Yeah, I think the numbers are going to tell you that most real estate agents, most lenders are not crystal clear on what their database is doing when they're not looking. You know, so I think that's a pretty good way to. It's a great question. It's a great leading question. It's working for me. What's your post-close customer care program look like? I do ask them, the next question is, I'm curious, do you have your clients fill out like a customer questionnaire up front? And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, in my business, I call it an all about you form, where, you know, I get to learn their names. I ask them a couple questions like, you know, if you won the lottery, what would you do? Or if you had a paid day off, you know, where no kids, no pets, no spouse, maybe what would you find yourself doing? You know, do you like, what's your favorite candy? What's your favorite dessert? You know, are you a coffee or a tea person? Are you a wine or a beer or a spirits person? Stuff like that, where you went to college. You know, the name of your financial planner, maybe insurance agent that you love or don't have, stuff like that. And so when I start talking to realtors like that, they're like, no, I don't have that form. Okay. And so I talk to them about that, and I don't necessarily go into selling what I have. This meeting is not about me. This meeting is to ask questions to learn about their business. And then from there, if they ask, I'll tell them I do have an all about you form, and I have my clients fill it out up front. And, you know, if we're doing business together, we send that over to you right away at application. So you know their date of birth, you know their anniversaries, you know their pets' names, their kids' names, all of that good stuff. So it helps you take better care. So that ties into, even if they are managing their database, are they managing it that good? Like, are they really customizing the conversation that they have with their client when they call them? Are they really customizing the gifting program? Or are they just sending them a doormat or a cutting board? Stuff like that.
Hey, Dan, I do want to pause. We're about halfway through the call. Dustin Ames asked, where do you get your real estate numbers from? Chris said, try MMI.
Yep, that's it.
Where do you get your...
That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll put a link down below. Big fan of that product. John Erickson said 20 minutes in, and this is the best advice I've ever heard on these Mortgage Coach webinars. This is amazing. Thank you, Dan. Boom.
Stick with us because it's going to get better.
Yeah. Paul Hurley in Zoom said, how do you get your average commission? Any feedback for Paul? Average commission?
Yeah, great question. So in MMI, we can see their volume. We just do reverse engineering. I have my assistant work on that. Transactions
divided by volume. Matt Mayo said, what is their post-close process? What is their post-close process clear? Oh, what if it's clear and well-defined? What if?
Awesome. Then anytime they ace a question that I ask, you glorify them. Oh my, tell me about it. Like, would you tell me about that? Because it's something I've been super passionate about in my business. Tell me how that looks. So that I ask them about it, and I'll find a kink. Guys, we will find kinks. How do we help realtors make more money? Private events for your customers, all about you forms, post-closing concierge. But if they have one in place, I want to learn more about it. Newsletters. Are they doing a letter from the heart? You guys all know I'm really big on video. That's a big part of my value proposition. Are you doing video, social media, stuff like that? So I'm going in with the heart to serve. I'm going in with trying to find out ways, like, again, my value proposition. Matt, if you and I have a conversation and we go have a beer together and the conversation's all about you, it's not about me. I'm going to leave that conversation. I'm going to leave that 1 hour meeting with you knowing a way where I can help you with your business. There's going to be a way, and I'm going to find a way through the questions that I ask, through the things that I implement as a top producer in the mortgage industry. So we're doing, again, in that meeting, we're not selling, we're asking questions. So cool, tip your hat, tip your cap to them, glorify them, and learn more about it, because there probably are some gaps there.
Dan, you can either put this off towards the end, because I want you to unpack everything that you're doing, but it's a great question that came in from Deleuze Rivera. Welcome to the industry, Deleuze. Said, I'm very new, got my license in May. I'm afraid experience in the business will be a rejection factor. Any advice to combat this when making those calls with realtors?
Yeah,
so basically,
yes.
brand new loan officer that's just not confident and, you know, being vulnerable. So thank you for that, being vulnerable about rejection. Any advice you have? And you can wait till the end, or you can nail it now.
Let's bang this thing right now, buddy, because this is so big. And I work with a lot of people like you at New American Funding. Here's the thing. I believe that persistence beats talent every single day in sales. Persistence beats talent every single day in sales. And I'm living proof of that. I'm really, really, really good at what I do. I've got a dude right down the hall that works with me. He's 2 years in the industry. I don't even know if he knows how to structure a loan, because my team does it for him. But he is persistent. He calls 50 realtors every single Monday. He's closing 3 to 4 loans a month. He is persistent on the phone. I've given him a script. He calls them. He just wants to meet with them. And he goes, I'm going to call you until we do a deal together. So persistence will beat talent, buddy. So remember that. Remember that. Just be persistent. Get good. Now, on the flip side of it, when you do get the meeting, man, and you get in at bat, you gotta hit the ball, right? So you gotta start plug into the mortgage coach community, live in this mortgage coach community, live on their YouTube channel, learn the perfect loan process, watch these videos on how we add value to realtors. But persistence on these calls will get you in front of people. And here's the other thing. I know this for a fact. Real estate and lending is a relationship business. Because here's the thing. If it weren't, there would be 3 loan officers in the Seattle area that would do all the business. That's it. That's why if you walk down these halls, there's loan officers here in my business, in my company, that do 1 or 2 deals a month, and they're average. I'm really, really, really good. And I'm charismatic and I'm enthusiastic and I got all these value propositions to bring to the table. They don't, but they still do loans. It's a relationship business. So remember that. Go out and build relationships. Be persistent, build relationships, care, add value. You're going to be just fine, man.
Let me give 2 minutes on this too. So first of all, we've got a new loan officer playbook at our blog. We'll share a link to that. I interviewed this loan officer a couple of weeks ago, Ryan Weiss. And Ryan, the month I interviewed him was like his 10th month of the business. Guys, this is just a couple of weeks ago. This is not like last year. This is a loan officer, first year in the business, closed $1 million in loans. I know a lot of loan officers that have been doing business for 10 years that aren't closing $1 million in loans right now. And here's the deal, guys. He is giving value. This was a referral from a realtor. It was a first-time home buyer. And they said, you know what? I'm scared. I'm going to wait a year. And Ryan, because he has the skills, because he was committed, he said, hey, let's run the numbers. Let's check it out. And he showed rent, you know, it'd be $1,500 a month. Here's standard pricing on a 30-year loan. Hey, right now, because the market is soft, you're more likely to get a seller to, play ball. So you can get a better rate. And then guys, here's the magic. This was a first-time home buyer. Guys, this is a brand new loan officer that, because he's a mortgage coach, he was able to say, hey, what if you bought this 3-bedroom home, you rented out 3 of the bedrooms for $650 a month, and you invested that $650 a month times 2 with the financial planner? Look what your net worth might be in 5 years. So again, persistence, strategy, and skill. And you know what? This buyer is off the fence, not waiting a year, like because of a house hacking strategy, because of a brand new loan officer's skill, is getting an escrow. By the way, most loan officers have been doing this 20 years, don't know how to have that house hacking conversation. They don't know how to get first-time home buyers off the fence and into escrow. So for the new loan officer that said that, persistence is everything in work ethic. but you also need to have skills. You need to be an advisor. You need to be able to have these valuable conversations to help buyers see the opportunity in the market. So Dan, we got 20 minutes. Anything else you want to say to that?
Yeah. Let's put a bow on this for Deleuze and everyone else listening to this, and we can even end the call right after this. And this is so important. Just hear me out on this. 2 years from now, it's going to fly by, you guys. What's your story going to be? What's your story going to be? Dave opened up this call with, this is the third toughest market he's seen in 30 years.
36 years.
36 years. What's your story going to be? I got in the mortgage industry in 2008. I've got a killer story. I went from doing 20 million to 200 million. Killer story. But that was chapters 1 through 10. I'm in chapter 11 right now. How's this book going to end? So I want to kind of leave you with this, Deleuze and everyone else. It's time to go big, play bigger than ever. And here's the thing, worst case scenario, you're going to have an epic story at the end of this, or you're going to have an epic outcome. Either way, go big, go all in on this, learn how to sell. You're going to come out of this a freak. You're going to come out of this with skills that you wish you would have had 5 years ago, but you're going to come out of this with skills that are going to take you to the top when the market turns in 1, 2, 3, or 4 years.
Hey, Dan, I got to wrap a bow around it. Just 2 minutes, and then, be ready to share whatever you wanted to, guys. This is also for all the new loan officers and the experienced loan officers. Is your database and the value you create in a database is everything. I mean, every loan officer in America could, for every 1,000 mortgages under management, you could have predictable income. And so first of all, I want you to realize your database is not just past clients. Your database is every person that you're able to get into that database. And just a reminder, guys, as a loan officer, as a mortgage professional, you can have a more valuable database than realtors, CPAs, financial planners. You can actually know what's happening inside of that database. Who's shopping for a mortgage in that database? Who listed a home? Whose credit score just went up 50 basis points? A significant life event. And if your company you're working for has Sales Boomerang, it automates total cost analysis. So for every new and experienced loan officer, you've got to have great conversion skills, which means relationship building skills, prospecting skills, ability to connect, make friends with people, but your database is where it's at. Like if you play it right now, and by the way, guys, rates are going to go down. It's not a question of if they're going to go down. It's a question on when are they going to go down. And like, this is another thing. When they start to go down in Sales Boomerang, we have a rate and term refi alert. So like, as it hits a rate milestone, it'll create a total cost analysis. As it, we know where the equity is. We know where the home value is. So literally, guys, when this thing starts to turn, and instead of rates going up, rates coming down, like these are loans. Like if you are monitoring your database properly and you are a skilled advisor, you can go from data alert to advice that's delivering lifetime value for a consumer. I do believe that for the loan officers that play it right now, they're doing exactly what Dan says. They're making 100 calls to realtors. They're meeting with realtors. They're solving problems with seller buy down strategies. When the market turns, I mean, I don't know about 2020 and 21 volumes. Like, I think we should just take that, like this is a reset. That should not be an expectation. But the market we're in right now is going to get a lot better, and the stories can be amazing. So I love what you said, Dan.
Yeah, the market stats that I'm focused on right now is what am I doing today? It's guys, I'm going back to the fundamentals when I coached college baseball. If we can hit better, if we can throw more accurately, if we could field more cleanly, and if we could run better, run the bases better, we're going to win. We won with average players. We won with major league players in our lineup. It was just because we did the fundamentals better. I'm going all the way back in my industry to focus on what we have to do on Tuesday. What do I have to do today? What outbound calls do I have to make? What books do I need to read to get better? Can I role play with one of my colleagues on these calls to get better? What do I need to do? Like I spent Saturday all day long on Saturday, and I'll share this with you guys in my group. I have a private group, and I'll share with you in a second. A presentation that I'm now giving I tightened up my upfront presentation because I'm getting shopped more than ever for no reason. There's more fear right now. There's more time right now than ever. And so I had to tighten things up. Denise Donahue crushed it on a call, a private training that I had with her. And I think a lot of people joined it. It was like 1,000 people on it, where she talks about the origin of interest rates. So I kind of added, I had something similar to it. Hers was way better. So I polished up mine with some Denise Donahue, the nerd stuff. We need to be giving more value up front. We got to protect our business more than ever. And that's what great salespeople do. I listened to Shayla Gifford yesterday talk to you about, we need to be better sales professionals right now. And I hope that's the one takeaway you get from this call. So we need to up our sales professional game right now.
Did you watch that interview I did with Shayla?
Oh, it was unbelievable. The report that she shared from one of her young LOs and how he's doing current. It's just everything's strategic and advice driven right now.
So by the way, guys, that video should be up and live in the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel by the end of the day today. I did broadcast it live in our Facebook group, so it's already there. Also, I had someone just ask for the slides that I just shared. Guys, I want to help you adopt Realtors databases. So, we are currently, I did 2 interviews with Bill Hillstead recently, where we're really helping you have a conversation and a value prop. So where Realtors are giving you their database. Insurance agents, they're giving you their database. Financial advisors, they're giving you their database. So this is a work in progress. The deck that I just shared still needs some work, and our marketing team is working on that. But we're here to serve. We're here to help. So Dan, you are knocking it out of the park. I am going to put this not only in the best of 2022. This is one of the best calls of the year, but I'm also going to put this in the playlist for one of the all-time best interviews in Mortgage Coach YouTube history. So you can tell right now this is that good. We got 12 minutes till it's the buzzer. What are some closing thoughts? What are some things you want to make sure we cover as we wrap this up? And I see, by the way, you notice Dan's plugging in his computer right now. He's getting ready to lose some juice. What you got, brother? I had to call that out.
Running low on battery. I got some great information to close this thing up with. I think that we've talked about, let's recap real quick. If we're making sales calls, it involves 3 things: crystal clear value proposition, understanding what objections you're going to face, so you're prepared going in, okay, and you're okay with it. You got thick skin, okay, and then you got to have a process in place. So let's talk about my process in place. All right. So my process in place begins with Tuesday update calls. I call every single realtor on the transaction on Tuesdays, period, and the borrower. Starts with the borrower. Then I go to the buyer's agent. Then I go to the listing agent. Okay. And so I want to make sure that all 3 of them are in the loop every single Tuesday. It goes to the next part of my process is a pre-funding review. 2 to 3 days before escrow, I do a pre-funding review. So let me hit pause here and go back to the pre-approval part. When I'm sitting down and I'm pre-approving this client, I'm going to tell them, and I tell the realtor this is my process that I'm telling the realtor when we actually get to talk. When I pre-approve a client, I'm going to use this idea called the triangle for trust. Sarah, you're the realtor, you're right here. Dan Keller, the mortgage guy, is right here, borrower right here. The stronger that triangle, the better the process. So I asked them up front, how did you meet Sarah? How do you know Sarah? What do you love about Sarah? What did Sarah say about us? Okay, so I'm thickening that triangle for trust. All right. The very end of that pre-approval call, once they've already applied, and I know we're going to do business together, I asked them, is there anything that will get in the way of me being your mortgage guy after everything we've talked about? And I will send you guys my presentation, my pre-approval presentation. Tons of value there. When I get their commitment, I say, great, I'm excited to have you as a client. I'm crazy excited to have you as a client right now, because I know right now how much value we bring to buyers in this market. One of the things I love about a market like this is it allows us to show our value. The past 2 or 3 years, we were able to show our speed. Now I get to show my value, and they laugh. So Here's what I ask the customer up front. I need your help up front. And I don't necessarily need this right now, but I have to plant the seed. I have to ask you this. Sarah does an amazing job as a real estate agent because she's in the trenches and she's working on the phone with you and she's working on the properties with you and she's working with the listing agent. She's dealing with escrow. She's wearing 5 or 6 different hats at all times. It's up to people like me and you to support Sarah's business. So can I count on you to help me find Sarah a couple of new clients over the next 12 months? I mean, ideally in the next month would be great because then Sarah would know that we really, really care about her. So I ask customers up front this. When you tell a realtor that, they get goosebumps, you guys. They love it. So I'm telling Sarah when I'm sitting down with her about our process. So our process is Tuesday updates, communication, pre-funding review calls, mortgage planning meetings, planting seeds for referrals, okay? Number 4, I show up to all my escrows right now because I'm closing enough loans where I got enough time to do that, and it's a really meaningful thing. That's how I built my business 10 years ago, and I'm back to doing that. I call on the closing date, and I congratulate them, and I thank them for their business, and I tell them how much it means to my family and my team's family. Guys, I've never been more appreciative of a paycheck than ever before in my whole entire life. And our clients need to know that. Our realtors need to know that. They need to feel that appreciation. So I call them on the closing date. I do a 30-day post-close call, okay? I call them on their birthday. I do a 6-month review because we have to do a 6-month review instead of annual reviews right now, you guys. We don't want to miss out on an opportunity to do a refinance and to keep them updated on a refinance. And then we do an annual review. These are checkpoints that we have. When you tell a realtor that, that's a process that they admire. And then I tell them every time I talk to them on the phone, I pull them up in my database and I know that Sarah's their realtor. And I ask them, is there anything we can do to be supporting Sarah? Can we get her a listing? Can we get her a buyer? Do you know of anyone who's thinking about getting into the market or getting out of the market? Okay. When you tell realtors this, you guys, you've just separated yourself because it goes back now full circle value proposition. I care about your money more than any other lender out there.
And I really I want you to get committed to not only what Dan said, but this no borrower left behind concept. Guys, there is a financial literacy crisis in America. There is an affordability crisis in America. There's also smarter mortgage professionals than ever. Like every loan officer that tunes into the mortgage coach community, you can be the single most valuable to an advisor, period. More valuable than a CPA, financial planner, realtor, because your advice matters. Now you need to become that mortgage professional where your advice matters, and you need to be a fintech powered mortgage advisor that uses your CRM, that has a sales boomerang monitoring your data so that you guys, data is king. All of the fastest growing, biggest companies in America have done it with data. Amazon is Amazon because of data. Facebook is Facebook because of data. How they're leveraging data to create dollars and to create predictable revenue has never been more important. So you got to do everything Dan's saying, be a great leader, be a great human, be a honey badger of persistence. But you also need to have the tools and the technology. And we haven't talked about it in this interview, but video, you need to be able to amplify your leadership and your personality to kill it. For all you new loan officers that are watching this is a fantastic time to get into business. No doubt it would have been easier to be in the gold rush of 2020, of 2021. Fantastic period of time to be in the mortgage business. But guys, there is still a beautiful opportunity and an amazing career ahead in the mortgage space, but it's who are you going to become in this market? And this is a market where you can become something very special. So Dan, we are in the 5-minute buzzer. But by the way, you're killing it, brother. John Walker just said, Dan, absolutely mind blown, great information. Love your approach and how you articulate it. Agreed, John. Lonnie Stevens just said, thank you, Don. Thank you, Dan. Lots of great information, ideas. Appreciate you sharing your passion, helping others. Swing away, brother. You can't get this up, John Erickson, you can't get this uploaded into YouTube fast enough. Agreed. Robert on our team, we'll make sure we get this in YouTube. I will ask, guys, Dan and I do this because we want to make impact. We are playing for legacy. You know, we are playing for the impact that we create in the space. We have different business models, but we both love to help people and create impact. So please share this one with your management teams, your mortgage friends. We would love for this to, let's see if we can make this conversation with Dan the most viewed and most impactful conversation of 2022. So Dan, we got 4 minutes. Closing thoughts, brother.
Yeah, I want to save the most valuable, I believe today, the most valuable message for last, right here in the last 2 minutes. And this is a story. I want to share a story with you. And I want you to know that I've shared this with hundreds of ball players. I actually learned this from a college baseball coach years ago. And it's a story of a guy named Jack Weimer. Jack was about 55 years old, average American, 5'9", 5'10", about 325 pounds, overweight, made poor choices nutritionally and fitness all of his life. He had tried numerous times with a personal trainer, with a nutritionist. In fact, his doctors every other year when he would do his physical say, Jack, you got to lose weight, my man. You're going to die. You're high blood pressure. And, you know, he'd lose a little weight and then he'd, you know, go to a birthday party and have some cake and he'd fall off the wagon. We all know it. We all know it in fitness and nutrition. Jack got a call one day from his daughter. He said, Dad, I got a problem. I've got this rare disease and I've got kidney failure. And it's not good. Doctors are saying I don't have a whole lot of time. And so he goes to the doctor with his daughter, Megan. And the doctors, what they do anytime you need an organ transplant, they start with the family first. There was no match in the whole entire family, except for Jack. So Jack raised his hand. I'm in. I'm all in. I'm going to save my daughter's life. I'm going to do this. The doctor said, Jack, we can't operate on you. You're not healthy enough. You'll die on the operating table. This is not going to work out. Sorry. So Jack said, how much time does she have? And he said, 6 months, maybe 6 months. So over a 4.5 month period, 5-month period, Jack lost over 100 pounds. See, before Jack wasn't committed. Jack wasn't committed to losing the weight. He was interested, but he wasn't committed. The pain wasn't great enough till his daughter got ill. Jack lost over 100 pounds, ends up giving his kidney to his daughter. Daughter lives happily ever after. Jack's in great shape today as a 60-year-old man. My point in telling you this, and the reason why I share this story with you, your commitment has to be greater than your feelings. The second your commitment gets greater than your feelings, that's when you start seeing results. Q2 this year, my commitment got greater than my feelings. I got my ass handed to me in Q1. I was lazy in Q1. I was lazy in Q4 last year, counting the money in the bank, just coasting. My commitment right now is at an all-time level. Guys, we have to be committed to the process, to getting better at sales, making those phone calls, pick the day of the week that you make them, and then just get better at them. And like I said earlier, your fears are going to be conquered on the other side of those 10, 20, 100 phone calls, I promise you. And I sent this out to all my loan officers the other day. I said, the fear of rejection is greater than the actual fear itself. Say that. The fear of rejection is greater than the actual fear itself. Make the phone calls, have fun on them, start planting the seeds, and we'll look back 2 years from now and we'll be able to interview every single one of you guys listening to this call because you all will have an incredible story to tell. That's what I got for you today.
Wow. Mic drop, incredible story. Like I said, absolutely one of the all-time best mortgage coach calls. It will be in the all-time best playlist. It'll be on YouTube soon. I really invite every loan officer tune into this channel. We are committed to your success. If you want to be that loan officer, that mortgage professional where my advice makes a difference, you're able to say that, and then you're able to deliver that through the skills that you have and the capabilities that you have. We're here to do it. Dan Keller, thank you, brother. Appreciate you as always. Please give this a like if you got value from it. Give us some love in the algorithms. Share this with your friends. And this is a wrap. Take care, everybody.